Hello everyone, today I'm in Poznan, Poland, which is Poland's 5th largest city and is located approximately 200 miles west of Poland's capital, Warsaw. And I'm just here in the downtown area where they have a lot of office buildings, as you can see, and some hotels here. And they also have a lot of shopping and restaurants as well. And this area is also even a big public transit center. They have these streetcars like that one directly ahead, and it's pretty neat how they have these. This is a pretty typical street for Poznan, where they have the train tracks in the center of the streets, and these streetcars just go up and down pretty much every major street. And then for the lanes for traffic are on either side of the streetcars. And I'm not sure if this dates back to Soviet times or not, but even if it does, it's still a pretty good idea. The options that they have for public transit, and it's also pretty cheap to take these. A 45-minute one-way ticket is about $1, so really don't need a car here, and it's just much cheaper going by the public transit. And anyhow, continuing on with the tour of the downtown Poznan, and just some more background on the city of Poznan. The city itself has a population of approximately 529,000 people, so it is a fairly large city. Slightly more than 500,000 people live here, and of that 529,000, approximately 100,000 of those are college students who attend one of Poznan's 8 public universities. So the city has a larger, younger population, and they also have quite a few shopping malls here as well. So if you like shopping, you'll enjoy a trip to Poznan, as they have 3 pretty large indoor shopping malls. And this large brick building here, this is one of them. And these malls are, I would say, at least as big or bigger than the typical mall in the US, if you can find one now that is still open. Because as everyone probably knows, online shopping has really hurt most of the mall business in the United States. So much shopping now is just done online, but that doesn't seem to be the case here in Poland, even though they do have Amazon and other online shopping sites. It seems like these malls are still doing quite well. And they even have one other mall inside of the main train station here, and then they have a third one that's maybe a couple miles away and is more modern. But I'll have to look in here real fast. This is still a pretty nice mall as well. And then they have this old town shopping district here, and a lot of little shops and restaurants. And they have all kinds of different clothing stores, such as this is called the erotic store Venus, and I guess just leave it up to your imagination what they might sell in there. And some more background information on the city of Poznan. The name Poznan is said to mean to recognize or to get to know. And since the Middle Ages, Poznan has been an important trade center, and business continues to be an important part of the city, and several major corporations have their bases of operation here in Poznan, such as GlaxoSmithKline, Bridgestone Tire, and Volkswagen Corporation, just to name a few. And one other thing that's interesting is if you look at the per capita income, those figures, they appear low at 18,000 per year per person, but I'm not sure how accurate a lot of those numbers are, the income figures, because a city like this, if the average person was only making 18,000 per year, it just simply couldn't support all of these shops, and also the shopping malls as well, and all the restaurants. So it was rather surprising how prosperous the city is. And let's see, here's a little restaurant here, and looks like they sell pretzels for 3 zloty, or a cup of coffee for 4. So that would be like 75 cents for the pretzel, or $1 for the coffee, which is a pretty good deal compared to other shops like Starbucks, which they have a lot here. And here's another little shop. This is called the Kukurina, and I believe that's Polish for donut. Anyhow, they have a lot of different varieties of donuts here. Those look pretty good. And these range in price from 4 zloty to 6 zloty each. So that would be about 75 cents to $1 each. Overall, food here is quite a bit cheaper. I would say it's at least about a third cheaper than US prices. And also, the shopping mall that we just passed, they even have a grocery store in there as well. And that's pretty typical for European shopping malls. It's basically like a one-stop place to do your shopping. You could do your grocery shopping, and then your clothes shopping, and pretty much every shopping there, because they pretty much have every type of store. Anyhow, my map was saying there's a hotel on this street here, but actually this is it's called the Bloom's Hostel. So it's actually a hostel and not a hotel, and online it's listed at $25 per night, which I would consider kind of expensive for a hostel here, if you are into hostels and whatnot. Just because you can get a hotel for basically the same price, maybe a little bit more, and it might not be right here in the downtown area, but I'd say like the hotels around downtown Poznan probably average maybe $50 per night. Get a pretty nice hotel. Looks like they're doing some street cleaning here. And here is a kebab shop. And these kebab stores are pretty interesting. They have the meat on a rotisserie, and they put that inside of a pita bread and mix it with vegetables. And a kebab there is about $7. And here's another little restaurant. They have their menu, but they do not list the prices on there, which is not very helpful. And a lot more shopping. And this Old Town shopping district, it goes on for several blocks. So there's it's pretty big, and there's a lot of shopping and restaurants. And here's another kebab store, and this is basically the same thing. So they have the meat on the rotisserie there in the back, and then in the front they have all the vegetables. It's kind of similar to a Subway, I guess. It's just the meat is usually different. It's either chicken or lamb, and then the bread is also different. And here looks like they start this one, kebab wrap is starts at $6, and maybe here's a better picture of them, and they're actually pretty good. And see, this store looks interesting. It's called the Flying Tiger Copenhagen. What does the Flying Tiger sell? Looks like they're getting ready for Halloween, little Halloween knickknacks. And I thought it'd be a tourist store, but this doesn't look like it's for tourists. It's just a lot of little knickknacks and stuff. Anyhow, continuing on, try not to get run over by bicycles here. And I seem to have gotten sidetracked a little bit and passed the main entrance to this mall, but here it is. And most of the malls have these turnstiles, probably to conserve energy. And anyhow, this mall is, I would say, partly westernized. You will probably recognize a lot of the names, such as this Vision Express eyeglass store, and then some of these other ones I'm not too sure about. This business here says 303 Avenue, and that sounds like maybe New York inspired, perhaps. And others are rather well known, such as that Starbucks directly ahead. And here is the atrium area of this mall, and it is a fairly large mall. It's 3 stories, and the 3rd story has a food court, and a lot of those names are recognizable. They have a McDonald's as well as a KFC, but they also have a lot of their own franchise stores here as well, such as this store here, Echo, looks to be women's shoes. And what's interesting about the malls here in Poland, and this one as well, is that they have a grocery store in the basement. So it is pretty much a one-stop place. You can do your clothing shopping and all kinds of different shopping here, as well as your grocery shopping too. And just looking for the escalators to the basement level, which are over here. Some more clothing stores. This looks like a men's clothing bottom. Anyhow, and I'll have to come back here later to do a food shopping trip, just to show everyone how cheap the food is here in Poland. And this is a Carrefour market. This is the Poznan main train station, which also has a large 3-story mall attached to it, and both are located here in downtown Poznan. So it is a pretty easy commute to your hotel or office building from here. And directly down the street they have this trade and convention center, this large glass building directly ahead. So there is a lot of business activity going on right here. We are now entering the Poznan train station / shopping mall, and I'm a little bit familiar with the train station side of it just because I was just here yesterday and just took a train from Berlin to Poznan. And this is, I would say, a medium-sized train station. It's over here on the right. And off to the left, that would be the ticketing counter. And then further down, they have the different tracks, 2 through 5. And then they have the departure arrival board. And it looks like it's a pretty busy day here at the train station. And then on the other side is the shopping mall. And they also have a lot of restaurants in here, and you might recognize some of the restaurants, such as this McDonald's. And they pretty much have them everywhere. Of course, everyone knows that. And I priced their menu for a Big Mac meal is about $7.50, which is pretty similar to US prices, so you're not really saving anything at the McDonald's out here. And they have a whole bunch of stores in here. There's a news magazine store, Calzana, looks like women's undergarments perhaps. And then they have some higher end shopping here. There's an H&M store across the way. I think that's more of a European store. Of course, we are in Europe, but as in, I think they might be based maybe like in France, possibly. But it is a higher end men's, women's clothing store. And a lot of other shopping. And it's a pretty big mall. And there's even a Foot Locker. Everyone's heard of Foot Locker. And they have a lot of their own brands, which I'm not familiar with here, like this clothing store, Carry. I'm not sure if that's a Polish name or not, but anyhow, upstairs there's also a restaurant and food court. This is the Poznan Galleria, which is located approximately 2 miles outside of downtown Poznan. And this would be one of the larger and newer malls that I've been to here in Poznan. And it has many fancy shops, and also has a lot of restaurants and even a grocery store in the basement level. So let's go in and check it out. And this is the inside of the Poznan Galleria. And this mall could almost be just about anywhere in the world, as it has such a variety of shopping. There are higher end European stores such as this Zara, which I'm really not familiar with. And then there's more Polish sounding businesses such as this Bershka. And then there's other shops that are more familiar, such as this Levi's store. And I'm not really sure what this Bershka sells. I could be mistaken that it is a Polish franchise. And it looks like it sells men's and women's clothing. So I'll see if I can find the men's section here. And if you like jackets, this looks like a pretty basic jacket. That's 199 zloty, which equals about $50. So maybe for mall shopping, that would be more, I guess, of a mid-range price store. But a lot of stuff is really not that cheap here. And other franchises such as that Samsonite luggage store across the aisle, those, it doesn't really matter whether you're in Poland or the US, the Samsonite stores are always a little bit more expensive for their luggage. And this is the food court area of the Galleria. And they have a pretty wide selection of restaurants to choose from. There's the standard McDonald's, and then a KFC, and they have a few other names I'm not completely familiar with. They have a Thai wok, and then a salad story, and then this Berlin doner kebab. And I've seen quite a few of these around Poznan, and they're actually pretty good. They have the meat on a rotisserie there in the back, and then you could they put the meat in a pita bread. It's either like a lamb or a chicken, and then that is put inside of a pita bread and then mixed with vegetables such as lettuce and tomato. And it's almost like a Subway sandwich, but the meat and bread are just slightly different. And then here's this Salad Story restaurant, and this looks like a build your own salad, and the prices there were about 30 zloty for a salad, which quick math is about $7. And here's a Thai wok, also about $7-8 for a meal there. A pasta italiana, and I don't see any pizza here at the pasta place, so I guess it's just straight pasta. And not very familiar with this restaurant. A guri, looks like Asian noodles. They have a pork dish for 28 zloty, which is about $7 as well. And then this restaurant is called North Fish, and this sounds very Norwegian. And you can get a fish and fries meal here for 29 zloty, which is also about $7. So the popular price mark of a lot of these restaurants appears to be $7 for a meal. And then here's a KFC, and a chicken sandwich is 18 zloty, which is about $4.50. And then here's a McDonald's, and a 6-pack chicken nugget there is $4. So the McDonald's would be the cheaper option of the bunch. And then they have this nice seating area here, and you could even go outside on this outdoor patio, and looks like you have a pretty good view of this part of the city. And since it's still mid-September, the weather is still pretty nice out here. And let's see what the view is like. I sort of have a good view. New car shopping in Poland. Some cars are expensive regardless of where you buy them, even here in Poland, and that holds true for these Volvos. And this is the XC40, and is currently priced at approximately $60,000, and that's a little bit expensive. Doesn't matter whether it's the United States or here in Poland. And this other car, this is the XC60, and this one is priced at approximately $70,000. And these other cars are pretty much in the same price range, $60,000, $70,000. So it might be a little difficult trying to find an affordable Volvo in Poland, or at least a new Volvo is expensive. This is the apartment that I've been staying at here in Poznan, and the building is called the Avenue 22 Apartments, which is located approximately 1 mile from downtown Poznan. So it's in relatively easy walking distance to pretty much everything. And they also have a lot of public transportation as well, though I really haven't needed to take the bus because everything is just within easy walking distance. And it's located in this nice tree-lined Polish neighborhood. And the building itself, though it is a little bit older, most of it has been remodeled, and my apartment has been completely remodeled. So it's like being in a new apartment. And the rate for a studio apartment for one night is $53. So overall, it's a pretty good deal. And let's go take a look inside. And this is the inside of my studio apartment here at apartment 22. And it's just a pretty basic studio apartment layout. Here's a little kitchen area here. And they even have a little dining table with a TV and a sofa as well, which might even double maybe as a small bed for one person. And then there's even a good view of outside in some of the other apartments as well. And then the sleeping area is further back, and it's just two small twin beds and closet area. And then the bathroom is over here, and also just a standard bath with a shower. Though for a studio apartment, the bathroom was larger than I expected it to be. And so far, the only complaint I have is in the kitchen. It has this stovetop, but it does not appear to be plugged in or functional. And it comes complete with a dish set, as well as silverware and even pots and pans, but it might be kind of difficult to use the pots and pans for cooking if there's no stovetop, though the microwave here, that still works. And except for that, this is a decent deal overall. I've gotten better deals before here in Poland, but overall for $53, it's a good deal. And this hostel has a relatively interesting name. It is called the Frolic Goats Hostel, and it's located in the downtown business retail district here. And it's still a little bit early in the afternoon. It's about maybe 1 o'clock, and most of these restaurants appear to be closed. Maybe this one is open. Anyhow, the Frolic Goats Hostel is listed online at $18 per night for a shared room, and it looks like it has mixed reviews. One user writes, "I definitely do not recommend it for people who visit Poznan for business. After a whole day of training, a man expects silence and relaxation for the next day of struggle. Creaking beds, loud neighbors from the rooms next door, and doorbells ringing every 20 to 30 minutes on average at night is unbearable. The gift itself at the entrance on the bed, earplugs, make us stunned and afraid of what may await us. Overrated poorhouse." So apparently some people don't like the noise, but I guess that just kind of goes along with shared rooms, dormitories. This is the Poznan Cathedral, which is one of Poland's oldest church buildings, and this was built during the 10th century, which makes this building over 1,000 years old. And this cathedral was rebuilt several times due to fire and war damage. And the last time this building was rebuilt was following the Soviet and Polish advance to recapture Poznan from the Germans in 1945. And this is just a massive structure. I would say it's at least 10 stories tall, maybe taller. So for a church, it is just a huge building, and it should be pretty interesting to see what it looks like from the inside. And we are now walking inside the Poznan Cathedral. And though there weren't services being held, it looks like some people were praying, so I just wanted to just use the camera by itself. But this is a very impressive building, and if the people who built this, if they were trying to make everyone feel small, they certainly did a good job at it, because it's just a huge building. And just down the street from the Poznan Grand Cathedral is this vacant and abandoned synagogue building, and it has several broken windows, and it looks like the main entrance there on the ground level is boarded up. And this is the new Synagogue of Poznan, which was built in 1907 for the city's once thriving Jewish community. Then during the Second World War, the building was taken over by German troops who used the synagogue as a recreation center, and they did that by building a large indoor swimming pool inside of the synagogue. And then following the Second World War, the building was continued to be used as a rec center by the city of Poznan. And then at some point, I believe in the 1990s, the building fell into a state of disrepair, and in 2002 the property was donated by the city to a Jewish nonprofit group which did have plans to revitalize the synagogue. However, that was over 20 years ago, and apparently not very much has come of those plans. And from what people who live here say is that now the plan is to tear this building down to build a new apartment building. And this area has a mix of old and new buildings. Right next to the synagogue, there's a newer apartment. But then across from that, they have this kind of falling down building. The ground floor level there, most of the stores are boarded up, and it doesn't look like the upper levels are being used. And further across the street, kind of the same story, a mix of older and newer buildings. And it just seems like it would be a great waste and a great loss to history, especially after all that happened here, all the millions of people who lost their lives, to tear this building down just to build one more apartment building. It would be such a waste, and hopefully the citizens of Poznan can figure a way out to save and preserve this building like what they should have done 20 years ago. And this is the front entrance to the Basilica of Our Lady of Perpetual Help, Mary Magdalene and Saint Stanislaus, or also known as the Parish Church for short. And this is a Catholic church which was built in the late 17th century and survived the Second World War relatively unscathed. During the war, the Germans used the building as a warehouse, and it's also said that people have sighted a ghost here, and the ghost is that of a female church patron who at one time she donated a large sum of money to the church for them to purchase a pipe organ, and it's believed that her ghost continues to guard this organ. And let's see if they still have the pipe organ in here. And this is a very nice church building. And I do not see where the pipe organ is. There's some statues playing, looks to be a guitar maybe. That could be it over there, perhaps. This is the Poznan Old Town Market Square, which also appears to be under construction. And from what people who live here say is the construction has been an ongoing process for the last several years. So hopefully they'll get this finished in the near future, as there's a lot of small businesses, restaurants, and hotels just right here in this area. And also of interest is this City Hall building here, and this was built in the 13th century, making it over 700 years old. And every day when the clock strikes noon, 2 mechanical sheep, they pop out of those doors up there right above the clock tower, and they butt heads. And that would be a interesting art display to see, so I'll have to put that on my calendar to come back here at noon and check that out. And here's another example on how these older buildings were constructed. And this brick wall, which I would estimate is about 2 feet to 2.5 feet wide, just goes all the way to the top of this 3-story building. And in a lot of ways it's rather remarkable that this building is even standing, because right about the midsection around the 2nd floor there's a rather large gap, and I would say that's about like a 2-3 inch gap right there. And these bricks are just stacked up one on top of the other, and that does not look very stable. If there was ever an earthquake, I would not want to be inside one of these buildings. And the thing is though, from the front, it almost looks like it's a newer building. And what they do is they just put this stucco right over the bricks. And from the outside, you think you're in a somewhat modern building, when this is all you have right behind that stucco is just mountains of bricks stacked on top of each other like that. And that does not look very stable. How much does it cost to gas up your car here in Poznan? Right now gasoline is at 6 zloty per liter, which translates to about $1.50 per liter, and there's 4 liters in a gallon, so that would be about $6 per gallon, which would be about $1 and change more than the US, but still cheaper than neighboring France and Germany. Back at the Carrefour supermarket, and going to go on a quick shopping trip here just to show everyone how cheap most of the food, maybe not all, but most is. And starting the produce section, a pound of grapes is about $2, and nectarines are 10 zloty per kilo, so that's about $1.25 per pound for the nectarines. Tomatoes are 6 zloty per kilo, so that's about 75 cents per pound for the tomato. And here's heads of lettuce, 5 zloty, which is about $1.25. And next up is the dairy aisle, and Here's yogurts. It's about 50 cents each for the yogurt, or the one with the crunchy granola is $1.25. And milk here, like most of Europe, is sold in these 1-liter containers, and those are about 90 cents each, which per gallon be about $3.75 per gallon. And here's the cheese section, and these packs of cheese are about $1.50 to $4 each. And here is the meat section, and let's see here, this is chicken legs. These are about $1 per pound. And they have some chicken wings there, a little bit more, about $1.50 per pound for chicken wings. And here's the eggs, and the eggs are sold in packs of 10 for $4 per pack of 10, or $3 for a pack of 10, sorry about that. And here's some ground beef, and about $3.50 per pound for the ground beef. So maybe some things are similar in price and some things are quite a bit cheaper. I say the produce is quite a bit cheaper, and the chicken, the poultry is cheaper as well. And then here's the bread aisle, and these are rather small loaves of bread, and those are 5.5 zloty, which is about $1.30 each per loaf. And here's the pastries, and those are about 50 cents each. And here's the butcher section, and a lot of cheeses. Let's see, they have some fish here. And this salmon, that's pretty expensive. So it's sold in 100 gram by the 100 gram. So the salmon's about $15 a pound here. That's pretty expensive. And they have, these look like locally caught fish here. And for that one, that's $4 for a 1 pound fish. So about $4 a pound. Still a little bit expensive, though still quite a bit cheaper than US prices. And here's the dessert section, and they have Häagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry's, and those are about $8 per pint for the Ben & Jerry's. And then half gallons of ice cream range from $6 to $5 per half gallon. And let's see what else. Frozen foods. A frozen cheese and ham pizza is $3. And here's the bottled water section, which is kind of important because the tap water seems to be a little bit discolored right now because they're doing quite a bit of construction. And these are 1 liter, maybe 1.5 liter for about 60 cents each. And here's the liquor aisle. Quite a bit of variety of hard liquors, and these small things of vodka are $2 each. And here's the beer section, and these bottles of beer are about $1.25, $1.50 each. These look like Polish brands, and that's a pretty cool little keg of beer there for maybe about 20 bucks for that. And there's they actually have Budweiser here. That's $1.25 for the Budweiser. It's kind of unusual to see Budweiser in Europe. For some reason, the Europeans really don't drink very much Budweiser or Coors. And here's the sodas. And those Pepsis are about $2. $2 for this thing of Pepsi. It's pretty expensive. And Coca-Cola, it's about $1.50 for a maybe 16-ounce deal of Coca-Cola. And here, different potato chips. These are pretty cheap, $1.25 for those Cheetos. And they have Pringles here, but then they got their own brand here is like 75 cents, and then the real deal, that's like about $2.25 for a can of Pringles. And then they have juices, and what's different about this is the orange juice is usually just left on the shelf just like this. It's not refrigerated, and a liter of orange juice is about $1.25. And then they have an apple juice is also about $1 for a liter of apple juice.